Dana Denha here, and this is Let's Watch with the Ann Arbor Film Festival. Here in Washtenaw County, we can experience the arts in so many ways. But come March, the world-renowned Ann Arbor Film Festival brings outside-of-the-box thinking to galleries in the majestic Michigan Theater, where experimental cinema and art reign supreme. Joining me is Charlie Sadosty, an artist and filmmaker bending minds with their first film, Kaleidoscope, at the 64th Annual Ann Arbor Film Festival. Welcome, Charlie.
Hi, thank you.
Tell me about yourself, your background. Where did you go to school? Why did you want to become or get into filmmaking?
Uh, so I initially went to school down in Savannah, Georgia, at SCAD for a semester. But kind of quickly realized that this was not what I wanted to do. So, I dropped out, went back home, and kind of from there, I just started picking up art again and painting. And at this point in time, film wasn't really even kind of on my radar. I was just trying to sort of figure out what I wanted to do, and um, and naturally, I guess, kind of over time, I sort of fell in love with the camera and telling stories. So that's kind of how that all happened.
What was your art like before you picked up that camera?
Well, I kind of traditionally had more of a fine arts background. I kind of grew up doing more painting, more sculpture work. So I didn't really, I wasn't ever interested in film until I would say quite recently. Um, so I think all the ideas kind of stem from that, just from my history doing kind of more traditional art.
Tell me about your work as a painter, because I think your paintings are really intriguing.
Yeah, these were developed outside of college when I came home. And initially I just was kind of just bored at this time. I had a lot of sketches in my notebooks. And I was doing a lot of mixed media stuff um and so there was a bunch of drawings I'd really liked in these kind of more private notebooks. So I ended up just cutting them out and kind of putting them together on these canvases um and sort of kind of, I guess the whole idea grew from there. I started all the paintings are just like paper cutouts. um so it was just something that I could really just do just to stay busy and uh and kind of cure boredom almost.
It's interesting. They remind me of like almost like a graphic design. I've taken graphic design
Yeah,
classes before where
yeah.
they're like, oh yeah, go through these magazines and like find
Hmm.
stuff and make art.
Yeah, that was kind of the I don't know if that was like the idea. It was just something kind of, I don't know, easy to do. I got a bunch of just like cardstock. You could go to like your craft store and pick up like a pack of like 50 different colors for like $5. And so I was just kind of flipping through the colors, cutting out shapes and just gluing them on um, pieces of cardboard. And um, initially what I wanted to do was make some like cardboard cutouts and then um, hang them up on like buildings around where I had lived before back home in Rochester, back in Minnesota. But I quickly realized that that was a little bit risky, so I'd much rather put it on a canvas instead of on someone's storefront.
You didn't want to freak people out.
Yeah.
Oh, that's actually really funny. How did you end up here in Michigan? You said you were from Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't know. That's kind of a good question. I guess family. One thing led to another. My parents were like, Charlie, we're going to Detroit. You can either stay home, get an apartment, or you can come with us and try something new. And so I said, well, I mean, why not? Why not come to Detroit? So here here I am.
When was that? How long have you been there?
We moved here. April of last year.
So not
So
too long.
yeah, I've been here 9 months, 9, 10 months.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah.
Find the city as an inspiration to you.
Oh, for sure. I think I don't want to say where I previously was, like lacked creative energy, but there's definitely more in Detroit. And everything I think is inspirational, everything from down to, taking walks downtown and then taking just taking a walk around Eastern Market, seeing some of the graffiti on the walls and being around all the cool stores and everything. So it's definitely given me some ideas as an artist for sure.
Do you find that being a Korean American has an impact on the way you think about art?
Um, Not really. I mean, I think some people tie in like a lot of their like cultural heritage into their work. I really don't. I don't think about that too much.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's never really been something I felt that I needed to express like openly. Um, but I don't know, maybe in like a subconscious way. But other than that, I guess it's not something that I pay too much attention to.
It is interesting though, as your art will evolve over time. I think you could go back there and look back at stuff and be like, "Oh, there were some things in there that I didn't realize at the time." Because I feel like that happens to everyone as they like think back about their memories and things about themselves. For instance, I can think back to being like a child and like always being a feminist and like basically I was
Oh,
born a feminist and I it's like
yeah,
why? I
yeah.
don't know. It's just
Hmm.
there in me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess even with my first film, I occasionally go back and watch it because I'm gonna be honest. I really still, it's been about a year since I completed it. I have no clue what it's about. I have no clue, and I'm being brutally honest here. If someone were to ask me, Charlie, what's your film about? I have no clue. I don't know. It was kind of just put together on. Yeah, I don't know. Just yeah.
And this is pre-Kaleidoscope, or is this the one we're talking about,
Oh
Kaleidoscope?
no, this is Kaleidoscope. Yeah,
Okay,
this is
okay,
my
yeah.
film.
That, I
Yeah,
just am trying
yeah,
because I like that is your first film, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it's so strange to me that you're like, I don't know, but it feels like there is a lot of thought process and story to the film when you watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how else to say it, but just like it's about art. This is kind of in a period, I guess, when I was in a transitional sort of stage where I was out of college, but I have all this freedom, but I also, you know, I think where college can give a lot of people security. I just at this point was kind of floating around like, well, what am I gonna do with my life? I'm directionless. I don't, my life is, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And so I kind of was just making art, just kind of, just kind of as a distraction. I wasn't really thinking about what I was doing. I just kind of, it was a way to cope isn't that word, but just a way for me to kind of take my mind off of the situation of not knowing, where I'm going to go or what exactly I'm doing. And that's kind of how the film sort of started, which was from those early paintings.
Tell me about, your inspiration as an artist. What are the kind of things you like in your real life? Like I almost feel like watching Kaleidoscope. I like there's things in it that remind me of like The Shining and like some horror films that
Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen.
Yeah. Early on, I drew a lot of inspiration, like in terms of like framing and different like cinematic ideas I took away from a lot of films that I watched. Kubrick was a big one. You mentioned The Shining. He was someone I studied a lot. And he was inspirational as well because I learned he didn't go to college either. And so but he started making all these films without kind of the infrastructure that college has to offer. And so that basically kind of told me that I don't have any excuses to sit at home and not make something. So um but in terms of other inspirations, I do quite a bit of reading at this time of my life. I couldn't read a novel for the life of me. I couldn't do it. It just took too long. Uh, so I was reading a lot of short stories, and I actually stole the name Kaleidoscope from Ray Bradbury's short story in The Illustrated Man, which is about these like astronauts in space, and their rocket blows up, and they're shot out in all these different directions, and they're talking to each other on their like radios while they're shooting off in all these directions in space. It's kind of a depressing story at first, but um, if you ever get the chance to read it, it'll take you like 15 minutes. It's a pretty good story, and so I fell in love with that, and that's kind of how I how I came up with the name.
Talk about, that getting that camera in your hand and putting this film together. Was there a storyboard, ideas in your head? How did it come about?
Well, initially I shot the film. It kind of came together in scenes. Like I had an idea for a scene that I thought would be really cool. So I'd film the scene, and then I would come up with a way or like an idea that I thought would go with the scene. And so this was early on where I was doing a lot of fragmented writing. I don't think I ever had like a clear script for like the whole film, which kind of is a good and a bad thing because it gave me a lot of like freedom to kind of explore the ideas. But it was kind of just like, okay, I have a scene. This is cool. Now I'm going to film another scene. And then the hard part was kind of, well, trying to figure out, well, I have two scenes that are very different from each other. How am I gonna tie them together? And so that's kind of how the film sort of was structured. It was sort of very fragmented at the time.
Did you, you're pretty new to the area. Did you have help with the film? Obviously, there's someone out, there's a woman in the film, but like, do you know people in the area? Do you have help? Do you have a crew?
No. Again, this is mainly filmed back home in Rochester.
Okay, so you did know
Um,
people there. Yes, okay.
yeah, I mean, like
Okay.
I knew artists. I didn't
Yeah.
know anybody like Rochester's a pretty small community. Well, it's big, but the film community is, I would say, non-existent. But there were a lot of like artists, local artists, and kind of like I don't know, cute little boutiques downtown. Um, but I didn't really have a ton of help in terms of, you know, hey, I want you to help me film something, or I want you to, I don't know, I have some scenes that need music or anything.
Yeah.
This is pretty much something I kind of just made on my own with people whom I've met either through work or family connections, and kind of just was like, hey, I got a project. Do you want to do it? and um, and so I had help, I guess, from people who are part of it, but in terms of putting it together and the production and all that, I had to do myself.
So you get the film done. What makes you want to submit it to the Ann Arbor Film Festival?
Well, at this point in time, I knew, like right when I finished it, I had known about the Ann Arbor Film Festival. And I actually, my parents grew up in Michigan, so as a child, we kind of always were in the area, going to football games, just walking downtown, because it was part of their childhood, and so my brother and I were introduced to it at a young age. I don't really know. I guess I just had a completed film and was like, well, I have something I made. I might as well try and get it out there somehow. And so Ann Arbor seemed like a great festival to apply for, and turned out it was. So
Yeah, on that note, how does it feel to be, a first-time filmmaker and getting in? I mean, the Ann Arbor Film Festival is known throughout the world. It's the biggest experimental film festival in the world.
uh, I I'm gonna say I don't know simply because like I kind of just applied or submitted my film just because it was like well, here you go, let me just I have a film that I think I put a lot of time into, and well, I like it, so here we go. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of come in waves because I don't really consider myself, well, I am, but I don't really feel like a filmmaker, It's kind of like a hobby right now still, where I'm working in a restaurant, and if I can on my free days, I either go to the library, do a little bit of writing, or I try and think about, what I want to do for my next project. So for me, it's kind of just, I don't know. It's exciting. I don't know what else to say,
It
but
should be. And you know what? It
yeah,
is, it might be the next real big career for you. And right now you're like,
yeah,
it's a hobby, but
yeah.
coming right out of the gate like that, that's pretty
Hmm.
amazing, Charlie.
Yeah, yeah. I still don't know. It's a little shocking because everything sort of kind of, I made the project with not really the expectation that I was going to be seen or anything. Um, and then, like I said, just kind of submitted it, kind of on a whim. And and I guess well here I am. So I don't really know how I got here, but yeah, I'm just happy to be a part of it all, and be able to meet all the people whom who volunteer and love art as well as the other filmmakers.
Well, let's take a look at a short clip from Kaleidoscope. We're back with Charlie. This is your first film, Kaleidoscope. The thing that really drew me in at the beginning is that you have these like a kaleidoscope imagery at the beginning. Did
Yeah.
you make that?
Yeah. I made it, but it's pretty easy how you can make it. If you have an iPad, there's an app called Photo Booth. And on Photo Booth, there's a bunch of different filters, and one of the filters is a kaleidoscope filter. And I went through a bunch of different like softwares and kind of programs that had a kaleidoscope effect, but the one that I just had on my iPad was just worked the best, and so I just used that, and I just took a painting and kind of moved it over the camera so that I could get all the different colors, um, and yeah, that took like 5 minutes to do, so that was always nice. Yeah,
I will say watching that made me grab a kaleidoscope that I had at my house. I will tell you this.
yeah,
I grabbed a kaleidoscope that my kids have at my house and I put it on my camera and I just wanted to see what it would do. And it's so cool. It took me about 30 seconds. It's so cool. You
yeah.
just like
It's
twist that
yeah.
image in front, like put it right on your lens and
Hmm.
twist it. It's like the coolest effect that's like really easy to create. So that
Yeah,
excited me about watching
yeah.
your film. Like
Hmm.
you inspired me.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I guess the whole thing just, yeah. The and I guess what's interesting about that is you mentioned the kaleidoscope. I After I completed the film, I think it was my mother. I don't know if it was for her birthday or what. But she received a gift from one of her friends, which was this like cool like handmade kaleidoscope without the knowledge that I had made a film, and so that was just kind of a interesting little quirk about all that. But yeah, they're neat toys, and I definitely was like, well, it's a cool effect. I got a name, so now I gotta come up with how to with the effects and all. But yeah.
So when you're editing this film, are you just adding like layers on stuff to make it have like that old timey film feel?
Yeah, there's a I filmed a lot of the things at the time on my phone. And there's this app called Super 16. It's free on the App Store. And it's this like it's like this kind of like 16 millimeter like camera, but it's digital. And it's a really nice bit of software because it's free. You can shoot pretty high quality videos based on your phone that you have, and it's got camera stabilization. It's got like, I don't know, like 50 different free filters that you can use. You can change the vignettes. You can add in your own filters. And so that's kind of, I mean, I use that quite a bit just because of the camera stabilization, but it's a completely free bit of software that anybody can use, and um, you can create a pretty good picture with just your phone in that app. So I use that a lot, which kind of gave it the effect, and that's kind of how that happened. Yeah.
That's actually really cool because in the past, when I've created projects that have like sort of a vignette or like maybe that filmy feel, you got to make all that stuff in After Effects yourself,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
is way more work. So like
Hmm.
I wrote down that app. I'm like, I'm about to download this thing.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's yeah.
so are you shooting everything on your phone then, or are you using another camera?
No, I should probably invest in a new camera. But I have this, I think it's a so I think it's what's it called? It's a Lumix camera. I think
Hmm.
it's a G7. And this is just it's like a super almost like amateur just base model camera. I bought this, I think it was for like maybe 350 bucks. Um, and it was just something where I just needed like a camera that could shoot and just I wasn't worried about movement or anything. Just if I could have a point and shoot camera that could shoot 4K, that'd be great. So most of the black and white stuff that you see in the film are shot on that. Like the opening credits with all the kind of the countryside, and then the very early shots of Allie, the artist, coming in, and that whole scene.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny that you're like, I don't know the story, but I find the story is about the artist and how being an artist is such a rough life and like you have to really fight and almost like that murder scene is like you have to fight to be seen and like have a career and have people care about what your thoughts are and your
Yeah.
social justice and all this stuff, like whatever you're trying to display in your art it's a real fight. It's not easy
Hmm.
being a professional artist.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, well, you say that because like I kind of made the film to be kind of for artists. What you just said, I hadn't thought about that perspective at all. So I think that was kind of, I guess, what I wanted to go into it is, for artists, I guess you can kind of come up with the story for yourself, and so that was my whole idea. I guess what I could say about that is the film is about artists. It's about art. It's about where it comes from, how it's made, whether it's good or bad. But I think anybody who loves art, who is a filmmaker, painter, anybody can come up with their own ideas about the film.
I also love that about certain films that like you're letting the viewer fill in the gaps. Like that's
Hmm.
awesome. That is something that makes you watch something and talk about it with your friends and family and think about it for longer. And when someone just gives you that ending, you're like, okay, well, that's the ending. It is what it is. Did I like it? Maybe, maybe I didn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like when it's sort of open-ended, meaning it does make you talk about it for longer. We're almost out of time, so why don't you tell people? This is a question I always ask everyone: why people should support the Ann Arbor Film Festival, go see the films, volunteer, whatever it is.
There's no greater place and community than Ann Arbor. I've learned that over the years and very recently as well. They have the some of the best students who go to the U of M, as well as some of the best people there. And I don't think you're going to find any anything kind of like the stories that you'll see there in terms of the different cinematic styles, the different cultural backgrounds. I think there's like this year, there's like, I don't know, films from like 30 different countries. They represent, I think, so much compared to the more traditional um, festivals, which kind of show more narrative work. But if you want large diversity of people and creative influence, as well as, um, well, I think some of the greatest people in the world, then definitely check out the Ann Arbor Film Festival.
Well, thank you, Charlie. I look forward to seeing what's next for you because I think you have great things on the horizon.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, just putting one foot in front of the other. Yeah.
To watch this and other CTN series, visit youtube.com/CTN Ann Arbor and remember to like, subscribe, and share. I'm Dana Denhoff for Let's Watch with the Ann Arbor Film Festival.